January has felt like the quickest month and the longest month so far in 2025. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria, and today I'm going to be talking about my February TBR. Today, I want to be talking about the books that I really want to read that are on my physical TBR for this month, but then also some hopefuls that if I have the time that I want to fit in. So, the first book on my TBR for this month is the book chosen by my in person book club here at my local town, which is Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I tried to pick this up, I believe, in 2023, but I ended up putting it down maybe about that far in. So, not that far in. I could have given it a more of a chance, but when book club decided to pick it up again, I was like, okay, I'll give it one more shot. It could have just been the time that I was reading it that I didn't want to enjoy the story, I guess. Um, but I'm hoping that this time around I can push through and actually either have thoughts or it'll be an official DNF and it'll be something that comes off of my shelf. But this follows a group of people. I think it's two or three people. I don't really remember. But that they meet in college and they decide to make a video game. And that's all I needed to know. I love video games. I'm a techie person, I'm a mechanical engineer. So the idea of a story about producing and creating a video game was just enticing to me. So I'm hoping that it was just right book, wrong time, and that I'll actually enjoy it. Next is the only library book that I have out so far this month, which is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I read Mistborn, I can't remember, but it was at some point last year. And I checked this out almost immediately afterwards, but I couldn't get to it at the time because of all the other reads that I needed to get to. So I'm hoping that I actually prioritize it this time because I can't renew it. There is holds and people waiting behind me. So I actually have to read it within the 3 weeks that I have it checked out. If not, I have to try again. But this is on my 25 books to read in 2025. So I need to read it. Like it just needs to happen so I can continue making progress in the Mistborn saga and through the Brandon Sanderson universe. Next is some romance for our month, which is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I have not read anything by Casey McQuiston yet, so I still have not read Red, White, and Royal Blue or anything like that. But I knew that this cover just screamed Valentine's Day, I guess you could say, because of all the pinks and purples and stuff. But I knew that I just needed some sapphic romance and set in New York City. I just needed something to break up all of the fantasy that I have on my TBR for this month. Next is another romance that I actually got from a bookstore here in Washington D.C. that when you bought a book at their opening day, you got a free book, like a free arc, so to speak. And so I got Never Date a Roommate by Paula Ottoni. I had never heard of this before. It came out, let me see, when did it say? July 23rd, 2024. So it's already been out, it's published, you can go buy it. But this follows a couple in Denmark. So trying to unintentionally read countries or read through the countries, but I want to diversify where my books are set and it's not just being like all set in America. So I figured that I would start with the books that are already on my shelves. Next is a buddy read that I'm going to be doing with Tella and Lexi, and we're going to be reading When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Tella actually bought this one for me, so thank you so much, Tella, again. Look how chunky this is. I'm terrified. I'm genuinely terrified because of how big it is. But I hope I'm gonna love it nonetheless. I know it has dragons and magic, and I don't care. That's all I need to know. And last but not least, on my actual TBR for this month is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros. I'm buddy reading this with so many people. Not only am I buddy reading it with my best friend, I also started like a new book club with a couple of people that I met on the metro, and they wanted to be reading this as well. So I will be picking this up pretty soon, actually, to be able to make a reading vlog for it. So look out for that, but I'm really excited for it. The only other book that I have as like a hopeful for this month is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. My other local friend Lexi, she wanted to be reading this so that we could have like a little buddy read meetup. So I hope that I can get to this. If not, it's just her and I. We can always push it till next month. But if it is possible, I'm gonna try and read it closer to the end of the month. I also wanted to talk about the anticipated releases that I have for February. I don't know if I will be purchasing them all in February, but I hope to read them at some point or check them out for my library at some point this year. But the first one is actually one that I've already read, which is an arc that is coming out on February 4th, which is Illusions of Fire by Nisha Sharma. This follows Layla and Karan as they are trying to not only come to terms with their mythological bloodlines and where they fit in their own destinies, but also try and survive between the forces of evil that are coming after them. So I genuinely enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. So I would recommend it. I hope that this becomes a series at some point because it left me with questions that I was just not, this can't just be a standalone. It just can't be. But I would recommend it to YA audiences. And if you like mythology reads, this is a great starting point for Indian mythology. The next one that I am excited for is from one of my auto buy authors, which is The Bone Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune. I love TJ Klune's writing, especially all of his standalones. They are my absolute favorite to pick up, which you will be seeing in the next video that I read Somewhere Beyond the Sea in January. It was amazing. This follows a man named Nate Cartwright who just lost his job in Washington, D.C. as a writer and ends up going back home to Oregon to try and like comes to terms with his life. He ends up meeting a man and a little girl who are living in his family's cabin that he was not aware of. And this little girl has some really amazing powers and just capabilities that he is really interested in. So I don't know anything other than that. I do know it's a re-release because on Goodreads it said that it was originally published in 2018, but I think it was primarily just like a either a re-release from it being indie, I don't know, or just TJ clunifying the cover because the this new cover looks exactly like it could fit on a shelf with all of his current publications. So I'm excited for it. I love TJ Klune, so I am ready for this one to come out. The next book that I'm excited for also comes out on February 4th, as the other two have, which is Wings of Starlight by Allison Saft. This is a story that's in like the Pixie Hollow universe that follows Queen Clarion, and I'm assuming her before she becomes queen. But it is a fantasy, like a YA fantasy romance, I believe, between her and the winter fairy that we see in one of the Pixie movies. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but I love the Tinkerbell is my favorite character. That's why my dog's name is Tinkerbell. So I'm excited to dive into this and get some background on their love story that we see a little peek of in that movie. The next publication that I'm excited for is The Forest King's Daughter by Ellie Blake. This one comes out February 11th. This was giving me Maleficent vibes, like the movie Maleficent vibes, when I was reading through the synopsis. It follows a princess who made friends with like a little lonely demon boy, and he accidentally gives her a ring that can be used to blind and disorient hundreds and hundreds of demons at a time, and so that causes a war between their families with unintentionally that happening. So it's a enemies to forbidden lovers romance. I'm very excited for it. She is also the author of Frostblood, which is here on my shelves. I have not read it yet, but I love this book on my shelf. It is absolutely gorgeous. So, and this new cover is gorgeous as well. So, I'm hoping to dive into this author and maybe she'll become one of my favorites. The next book that I am excited for is The Launch Date by Annabelle Slater. This, when I was reading the synopsis, reminded me of Just My Type. Which I read last year. So this follows a woman named Grace Hastings who works for a dating app, but she was just like majorly dumped, and so she's trying to figure out whether or not it's worth it to believe in the fake love that she's producing for this app. But she is put up for a promotion, but she has to do a competition in order to get it. And so she is put up against a rival of hers to essentially try and force romance into a new app like about meeting in real life. Instead of an app about swiping right or left, it's about meeting in real life. So that's the priority of the app that they are trying to make. And for her, this would be a huge promotion. So she is trying to work on it. I really like Just My Type, which is not by the same author, but that type of story was absolutely amazing. I liked the competitiveness in a work environment, and so I'm hoping that this gives me the same vibes. This did say that it was for the fans of The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, so if you loved though any of these books that I mentioned, this one might be for you. And last but not least, but one of the books that I am excited that is coming out this month is Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. And this is a cozy fantasy about a monster that lives at the bottom of a lake who saves a witch that was thrown into her lake from drowning because the witch is being persecuted by the people in the town. And it's about their story together, and I don't need to know much more than that. I don't want to go more into the plot or the synopsis of if they're fighting against it or just trying to live their lives. I'm not quite sure, but this cover is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't not wait for it to come out. It comes out February 25th, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'll put it up on the screen. When I saw this on the Goodreads like anticipated releases list that they put out for every single month of this year, I absolutely was like, yep, I need to read that one. And those are all of the books that I chose to be on my TBR for this month. If you have read any of these, let me know down in the comments. Don't leave any spoilers, or I will come for you. For Onyx Storm, I will come for you. But let me know your thoughts on them, and thank you so much for watching.